Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. I got a question. Raise your hand if you are a Valley of the Noobs Lakeville guy, are you, or gal. Do you like to go to the Valley? And if you do, why? I think maybe this has changed a little bit. The meta was very definitely not the Valley meta. The meta was sometimes the Valley. I think the consensus was that Valley wasn't very useful. This is a standard battle, by the way, so it's not encounter. I think on encounter it's even less useful. I think on standard it's a little more useful. But Wargaming changed this recently, and it might have been 2 years now or a year, something like that. And we're seeing more and more Valley fights, or really 2/3 of teams going into the Valley. You see a lot of streamers doing this as well, very good players who go to Valley, they'll play pixel sniping, hatch shooting, peekaboom in the hold down positions in the Valley. And then of course Artie will sit back there and slap teams, because as you can see it's just a canalized north-south channel. Not a lot of capability for any cross shots, things like that. Usually if you're the first to push you lose, especially if the other team has any kind of hit points. Valley. Now we're going to watch this. I got this replay from Spud. He's in his Cheeto SP, which is a very good Tier 7 TD. Nice mobility, great gun for Tier 7. Great little tank. We don't know what equipment it has. He'll have to fill us in. He's got small kits. It looks like, yes, and an automatic fire extinguisher. So not really a try-hard setup. He's only carrying 8 of the gold AP, or the special AP rounds. A little extra penetration on those bad boys. Sometimes those have less damage, but I don't believe that is so on this particular kind. So we're looking at 320. No, it's not. It's the same alpha. And we're going to kind of pause it here and holy cow. Okay. Very interesting. We have a significant amount of people going, especially if you talk about the Project Ion in the 4502. We've got 3 heavies. We've got a supporting T25, a bunch of guys in the middle and the Kalana there, and we've got a Jagdpanther, the Cheeto SP, the ELC, and the Rampanzer are the only guys going to the city. So I ask you once again, if you are a Valley person, tell me why you do it. Let's postulate some of the possible reasons. First of all, it's been remodeled over there, so it is a little more useful, I guess, or survivable, maybe a little bit of both. If you're a very good player, you can have a good game in that place. All right. Top tier going there in a battle like this with only 2 tier 7s and 8s. You could certainly see a Project Ion or even a 4502 with its decent turret having a pretty good game in there, especially if the enemy team doesn't send much. My problem with it overall, though, is once you win the people up in your face, there's still the push, and it's relatively easy to fall back and defend against. Then it becomes what happens over in the city and the middle combined that's going to determine whether your push onto the cap is going to work or not. You know, if nobody pushes in the city where Spud is, say the green team wins the Valley and starts to push south, if there's nobody getting up behind those guys, i.e. we push through the city and get behind them there, then that can be a bit tricky. You know, we take a big hit, or a hit anyway, from the KPZ right there, because they're not being threatened, so they can turn and spend all of their attention pointing at the guys that are attempting now to climb up and out of the Valley there. Now Spud's got a problem because he's dealing with some decent tanks. We have an IS-3A against a Rampanzer, a JP, and the Cheeto SP. This is not a spot I generally use. I see people go here, and we're going to have a pretty good result from Spud. I don't know, he'll have to let us know if this is kind of a standard spot or maybe it was just a spot of necessity. I think if the IS-3A and the other tank there really had an idea of what exactly was going on here, they might have just pushed in and taken both of them down, because they also happen to have a Cheeto SP with them. I'm wondering if Spud feels like he's pretty much done for. We're just going to do as much damage as we can. He does a nice little job of getting some bounces there in this other Cheeto. Going to shoot him in the hatch. Very nice. Fairly decent, accurate gun. Here's what you got to like about this position, and I don't think he's... Well, he might be just far enough to the right, but notice the hatch is on the right side there, which means he can sort of hide it against the building here if he's poking out left just a little bit, and right now this other Cheeto is not attempting to do the same thing. So we might actually shut this guy down. Yes, very nice. We lost our Rampanzer, but we killed the Cheeto, and the IS-3A wasn't able to take advantage of this thing. Gives a little bit of a nice angle for our hero to do some damage. Unfortunately, he eats a 392. Also gets the engine. That is unfortunate. Oh, and he misses. He misses. Our gun wasn't online. Oh, that's too bad. KV-13 makes an aggressive move, and now we've got a CS-44 jumping all over us. And several times on my first watch through, I thought, this is it. We have a damaged engine. We can't really see what's going on. The IS-3A ignores our hero, eats another shot. We are now getting some support over here from the Jagdpanther. And it looks like, what else is in here? There's the KV-13 up there, which is very helpful, and the Jagdpanther is thumping people as well. They can't go too far because we do have the Kalana hanging out in the middle, who's got shots through that opening, so they can't really wrap around Spud right now. He shuts down the IS-3. And meanwhile, we've got the fight going on over there in the valley. Now, I find this to be a fairly typical result of the valley, is if there's any kind of parity. You see that the T-28 prototype is hanging out in the back there, providing fire support. The Project Ion really can't push in. There's an AT-15A, which has all that DPM, and he's got a little help from the 3002 right there. I find that becomes just a quagmire, right? It's a very static fight for a while, and it really depends what happens over here in the city. I really feel like it should be the opposite, right? A few people go valley, hold it, and then we get a good push into the city, and then that gives us options. If the valley loses, we come back. If it is holding or wins, we keep pushing, wrap around behind them, and we get the win out of this. This is one of those maps because those two sides are so far away from each other, it's often hard to tell. And holy cow, where has the AMBT been the whole time? If he'd have showed up earlier, another opportunity for them to just rock him. How did the KPZ get past the Kalana? I just noticed that. Okay, the AMBT is going to come finish off our hero. He eats a shot. He ignores for some reason. Maybe he did not know that Spud was there. Came around the corner looking for a shot and realized he couldn't see. I don't know what happened right there, but he does a drive-by and loses nearly every hit point he has. Unfortunately, there's also, and then we have Mr. Helper shows up, that's not very useful at all. We have an IS-2. Down he goes. That was very strange. They have more than enough hit points to come in and finish him off. Shot into him. That goes into a track. The IS-2 wants to finish him off. That one bounces. One thing about this tank, it has pretty darn good armor for its tier. If you're not careful, when you aim and try to shoot this thing, that's the kind of stuff that will happen. And now the IS-2 is alone and unafraid. Looks like the... No, it's still out. Where's the Project Ion? Oh, he fell back. Project Ion has come back around. So he didn't like trying to push into a prototype and an AT-15A. So he's turned around and come back to the middle. The KPZ dies. It took them a long time to get rid of that guy. That's crazy. And now we've got a Tier 8 and a Tier 8 and another Tier 7 TD. And they're all sitting around in the middle looking for Sniperino shots. And here we have Spud with 2 kills, 2,372 damage, 1,465 assists, and 1,600 bounced. Just absolutely anchoring the city and keeping, honestly, his team from losing. If he gets peeled out of there quickly, they're in big trouble. There was plenty of tanks, enemy tanks in there to clean the rest of them out. That 1,660 bounced, and I think actually he might have not got credit for a few shots into the tracks there as well. Without him anchoring that, the city probably falls, and there's several Tier 8s now looking at the 25 and the project sitting in the middle, which is the danger of sitting in the middle. You lose the city, now people have shots out of the city into the middle. It's very hard to do what they're doing right now. But now we have the situation that I talked about earlier where I think that the city's the priority. They held at least in the valley. Now the 4502 looks like he might be trying to push, or he's just peeking. I'm not sure. I think he's up on the ramp there. Now we have the opportunity to push down south, wrap around behind them, and start getting shots on their guys back in the back. It's always funny when your low hit point guy who's been doing all the work is the one who has to push. Although the JP's down to 126, so this Hellcat, Super Hellcat's not too interested in leading this charge at all, so Spud will do it. Looks like nobody's sitting in the middle anyway, because you can see the 3 tanks pushing across. Mr. Project Ion The JP is telling him to push middle. Gabe push middle. Saint Emil dies. Now we have the prototype. And this is a good situation right here. The enemy team is being attacked from multiple angles. It's not very survivable now. We just have to be careful about not losing too many low hit point tanks pushing. So using the view ranges right there and being smart about how we do this. He probably wishes he was pointed. Didn't matter. Got him. Does a nice 260. A little bit of a low roll there on a 320. That's kind of painful. Trying to figure out where he wants to shoot. Tries to put one maybe into his side. Unsure if he actually hit him on that one. Don't think so. I don't think he lost hit points. So we got Spud moving up a little bit. He is shooting the gold AP. I think that's a good idea against the prototype. Although I don't even know if he has enough pen even with the gold AP to get through the front of the prototypes. Let's shoot on the move here. Oh, there we go. Nice, 352. So we got back our low roll a bit right there. Made up for the low roll with a nice high 352 on that one. Where is this guy? He's easily a one-shot, or we're easily a one-shot to him. We don't want to just walk in there and let him have a kill shot on us. Also, there's a Barask there with 2 shells. Thing got to watch out for with the Barask. I was surprised he wasn't spotted, was he? I think he is right about now. Yeah. What we don't want to do is to let the Barask kill a couple of us off and get reloads. So I think he shoots one shot, the Barask does, at the Project Ion. Because the hero comes in here, he eats a shot, doesn't get killed. He actually bounces that one, so now he's bounced 20-20. Barask is on a reload. Clearly he didn't shoot again, and he's trying to make a runner. Slap him for 303, another low roll. Down he goes, trying to get around to get a shot on the T-28. T-28 dies. T-28 did no favors for his team sitting in that back corner. Looked like he was doing some work on the guys who were trying to push the valley, but there was never really a push from either team. Our team reacted a little bit better in that at least the Project Ion came back around, but it surprises me that he went that way. He's got 5 kills. I don't know how many of those were late, but he's around 3,000 damage, or a little bit higher actually than Spudtuber, but Spudtuber did some huge work in the city, making sure that the team, who was very weak on its tier 8s over in the city, survived what he probably should not have survived in the city. If the other team was somewhat better or had a little more SA, they probably would have got in there faster and taken him and the JP out, but they didn't. The Kalana was a big deal in the middle too. He was helping kind of lock them down and make them a little less interested in wrapping around and killing off Spud in there. So it's like any match in this game. There's a lot of different things going on all at once, but I'm just kind of, what on earth, man? You know, what's up with the Valley? I think we might have another example of that in one of my games where probably 3/4, at least 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the team went Valley. It was crazy. I had to react very much like Spud did. Spud didn't really have an opportunity to do any pushing. He went in, kind of got trapped down in that spot. Again, he'll have to let us know if that's sort of a standard spot for him. It worked out really nicely. What I like about it is, and maybe he was watching this, with the Kalana and the Progetto, and I think the T-25 too for a while, sitting there on this corner right here, there's a lot of shots through this opening. And if they do try to push him, these guys can just absolutely punish guys trying to push in. And even a little bit, I think, if they're pushing on the south side of the church down there, there's shots there as well. So he might have been leveraging his campers, which is great. Even if he wasn't doing it consciously, it ended up being that way anyway. Just interesting to me how the game ebbs and flows a little bit. It really is, I think, leaning a bit to the Valley. You see a lot of top tier heavies and things going into the Valley these days. Sometimes I even see scouts going over there, which sort of blows my mind. I guess they think they're going to spot the Arty and the TDs in the back, and I suppose there's occasionally some success in that, but I find that to be kind of limited value. Although, to be honest, this isn't about scouting on this map, but it's kind of hard to get anything going with the scouting on this map early. You know, you're going into these bushes on either side of the lake, maybe getting aggressive and pushing up a little bit here, or getting aggressive in the middle where if you get spotted, you're kind of screwed. There you go. Let me know. Not unsure of the Valley push's relevance. I think somebody has to be there. I question when top tier guys go there. That's all I've got for today. See ya.